I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
It's really simple.
The man some fucking breakfast soup, bitch!
This looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause it feels so empty without
Breakfast soup! Breakfast soup! Breakfast soup!
I tell you what, if I had the talent of any one of these people, I'd be elected president by acclamation. Thank you.
Like every Monday night, you're checking out Breakfast Soup Raw.
Enjoy as Don, Tony, and Mish spill the soup about pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Soup Raw.
Breakfast Soup Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
Breakfast soup. Hey, happy Turkey Day, everybody. We're really recording this Monday, the 22nd, but it's going to be shown to everybody on Thanksgiving morning, the 25th. I am, as a lot of people say, a big fat turkey. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Mish? Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm all right, man. Happy Thanksgiving, DT.
Let me put my glasses on. Let's take the nonsense off. Yeah, look, I'm still in my work shirt. Work shirt. Didn't have a chance to get ready and put wrestling stuff on. But, we're doing this special episode because it is the Thanksgiving holiday. And I will be away for about 5 days out of New York, which I needed to get the hell out of here for a little while. I mean, I know a lot of people think that I'm burnt out from doing all these shows really without taking days off. But, how do you feel about that, Mish? Are you one of those that you enjoy yourself so much with the shows that it doesn't feel like work? Or does it feel like a hell of a lot of work?
Oh, it definitely feels like work sometimes. But, it really depends on the context. I mean, we have good shows. We have great shows. And sometimes we have shows that just need to be done, And obviously the burden of work, and this isn't just for podcasts or editing or anything else like that, but for any line of work, on the good days, it just seems to fly by, So,
Absolutely. So, for me, it's, it feels like work sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have those days that you're just physically and mentally exhausted. Even earlier today, my mind just felt like it was in a fog, and things that I was thinking about maybe like a half hour earlier, I couldn't remember, what did I want? I wanted to bring up this. And I couldn't remember for the life of me. And that gets frustrating. And as the older you get, the more that happens.
I hope not.
I know. Well, that's why I have coffee. That's why I had a nootropic drink. That's why I got my water here. But, so this episode was supposed to be rapid fire. I love all of you out there, and I'm not just saying that. But when I said at least a half a dozen times last week, if you don't know what rapid fire is, Google it. The whole idea of doing a special episode on Thursday is quick questions, quick answers, move on. And honestly, about 90% of you did not send in rapid fire questions. I mean, we will turn them into rapid fire, but this episode is to put up something lighthearted, not, overly thinking. Sure, we could complain about, Survivor Series, that horrendous stuff with Vince McMahon and the egg. God, but
that was pretty bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, man. Look, I know a lot of people complain DT is too positive. DT always tries to find the best out of. Even I said in the review, I'm like, look, other than Becky, Charlotte, and maybe the tag match with RK Bro and the Usos, I wasn't feeling it. And yeah. So anyway, we're going to answer everybody's questions. Shout out to John, who I know copied from a particular website, the rapid fire questions, because when I saw the order, I said, I know which one. So we're going to get into it. Mish, we've done it before on Patreon, I think 2 or 3 times in the past. Some of the questions we have definitely answered before, but we have a new audience. A lot of people who maybe not had tuned in a couple of years ago or maybe have never been on Patreon.
Sure.
So some of the questions might seem a little corny for some, but you'll get to know us a little bit personal. A lot of wrestling in there as well. So I don't want anybody to think like when we say your favorite soda, your favorite food, your favorite this. Trust me, it gets a lot deeper. But we're going to start off with some lighthearted ones just to get the flow going. And you ready?
Let's go for it.
All right. Mish, your favorite drink?
Mountain Dew.
Okay. What about alcohol?
Probably go with a White Russian.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Me, growing up, Absolute and Cranberry. That was my favorite. I would always say, give me an Absolute and Cranberry, and that's all I would drink. I mean, as I got older, apple martinis, margaritas, as far as alcohol.
Okay.
For non-alcoholic, a good diet cream soda for me.
Yeah, cream soda is really good.
Cream soda is awesome, man. I was so disappointed. You know, I'm on keto, so I got to be careful even with artificial sweeteners. And me and the lady ordered some food the other day, and on their menu it said, Stewart's Diet Soda. I'm like, oh my God. I ordered 2 diet cream sodas and 2 diet root beers. What did I get? Mug, regular soda. So not only did it have sugar, but it was mug. I'm not kidding. Mug. I'm like, come on, man. You wanted Stewart's. Your favorite cake flavor? What favorite cake?
German chocolate.
Okay.
With the coconut in there, it's not bad. And then
All right.
you get the layers and stuff, and then they put usually like a layer of cherry or raspberry filling. It's good. It's good.
Very cool. Very cool. For me, cannoli. For real. I mean,
Cannoli's
cannoli.
not cake.
Yeah, it's considered a cake. It's a pastry. It's flaky pastry with cannoli cream inside. That's a cake.
Okay.
It's considered a cake. Just like Chicago deep dish is considered pizza, even though I think it's a casserole. It's considered cake. Your favorite color?
We'll go with navy blue.
All right. One food you could eat right now. You're in prison. You're going to be executed in a half hour. You get to eat whatever you want, and you can't choose pussy.
Nah. Well, if you're eating pussy, there's a. If you're actually with a knife and a fork, dear Lord.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably go with like lecho, which is a Hungarian dish with different kinds of peppers: red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, green peppers, and they mix it in there with like Hungarian sausage, like a spicy sausage. They mix it in with egg, and it's almost like a what do they call that? Like a stew.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's like a pepper stew with sausages in it. It's really good.
All right. For me, nice plate of linguine with garlic and oil, some nice grated cheese. You could eat that every time.
Nice.
You know, eggplant parm is a close second. Favorite all-time TV show?
Probably going to go with maybe Married with Children. I can always turn on Married with Children and get a laugh out of it. So
okay. Yeah. For me, Miami Vice. Believe it or not, Miami Vice. I know a lot of people expected us to say Monday Night Raw, but no, Miami Vice, it influenced me with my dress, the way I, handled myself.
Personality.
Personality, absolutely. Still to this day, I have clothes.
I mean, there's a lot of shows that I like. I mean, I loved Game of Thrones up until the last couple of seasons. I thought it was an amazing series. Even going back in the House. I don't know if you ever watched old Dr. House, but that's a real good one too. MASH. I fucking loved MASH back in the day. Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Original, fucking fantastic. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about what can I always sit down and watch no matter where I'm at, Married with Children is probably the easy choice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I watched the episode with Sam Kinison the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I still can't believe that guy is deceased. And my God, you know, what didn't he just like fly in or something, like he was going to go to a concert or just flew in and somebody driving the wrong way? You know, a lot of people would think if
Was
you
he on
didn't
his
look it up,
honeymoon?
huh?
Like I thought it was extra depressing. I thought he was like just married and he was on his honeymoon or
Something like that. Yeah. So it was something like, a lot of people over the years would think drug overdose, you know, like something like that. But no, I mean, some idiot was driving on a highway, wrong side of the road, hit him head on and killed him.
Yeah.
Sad. Besides doing all your shows, all your podcasts, Soup and everything else, by the way, I lurked today while I was in my office. Good Survivor Series recap with you and Kevin yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
So very good. Other than the shows, what's another hobby you like to do?
Well, I've been collecting a lot of things lately, doing restoration on older like 80s collectibles like the muscles and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, it's more of a random thing. I'll do stuff online and read, but not really too big into the hobbies as of late. I guess restoration is really the big thing that I've been doing a lot of lately, because I'll do things like me and the Miss will go out to like different antique museums and we'll go out there, we'll find stuff and we'll restore them. I think I even told you about this. We just got a hold of like the old symbols monkey called the Jolly Monkey with the symbols, which is what inspired a lot of stories from Stephen King himself. And we found it at an antique place for $30, and they can retail like as new for thousands of dollars. And so right now it's the stake of cleaning it, getting the rust off, restoring the clothes, trying to restore some of the felt. That's where I think we're going to go with this. So yeah, shit like that is interesting to me. So
very cool, man. That's cool. Lot more interesting than mine. Mine, social studies and science were my two most hated subjects in school. But for the last 6 months, I have been fascinated with trying to learn what it was like living in the 1700s. Well, maybe like the 1800s to like the early 1900s. Yeah, I think it all started when COVID hit and understanding the Spanish flu and, just trying to like learn from that and what, the preventative measures and even understanding the science of why the Spanish flu killed so many young people. COVID, it's the opposite. It's mostly older and, people with secondary conditions. Spanish flu was mostly kids and young adults.
Everything is cyclical. I mean, that's what it really feels like, without getting too much of a tangent on earth-shattering diseases and viruses. But everything is cyclical, and it seems like the biggest viruses that have killed off large portions of humanity, the way that we beat that is through antibodies or just punching itself out.
Yeah.
Eventually the virus kills as many people as it can, and it can't really spread no more. So,
right.
And I hate to say that about COVID, but it almost seems like it's just history repeating itself at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we've had pandemics in our lifetime. I mean, if we were able
what was the last thing we had? Bird flu, right? That was the last
H1N1 was recently.
H1N1, right.
But there's a reason why we die. It's still 70s, 80s, on average. There's still a lot of things about the world that we live in, and it's not just the environment, but just our lifestyle and the ingredients and some of the stuff that we have and the air. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but there's always going to be virus. I mean, that's why it fascinates me, 100 years ago when they didn't have antibiotics, it's like, you get a small little thing and you just drop from it. So, we've obviously, come a long way, and, it's sad we won't be around 100 years from now to see what happens next. But let me ask you this. Do you think this world will be around 100 years from now?
Oh, yeah.
You do? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100 years is not really that much time. I mean,
That's
you're
true.
talking about my grandkids would be here 100 years from now. Granted, they'd probably be old as shit, but still, that is an actual reality of that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was actually just watching some videos about how time ends, and you can find this on YouTube, and it's a series of them. But there's one specific video. I think it's about an hour long, maybe a little less than that, and it goes stage by stage from the very moment of 2021 all the way into trillions of trillions of trillions and trillions and trillions of years in the future. But it shows how the universe finally dies, and it shows how time finally stops. They actually show the end of time, and it makes sense when you watch it. But when you look at the way that science has already deconstructed the way the cosmos works, the way that time works, the eventual future of everything, you start to look at 100 years. You start to look at our existence and just think that we'll be gone in a blip anyways. Everything that we do doesn't really matter. And I don't mean that to be depressing or anything.
No,
else
you're
like
right.
that.
You're right.
In the grand scheme of things, we're barely a molecule of a cell, of a body cell. That's how we are.
I think within a couple of 100 years, there's going to be some major nuclear wars, and I think that's going to wipe out large groups of people. The technology is getting more advanced, and with that advance in technology becomes the advancement of opposite things. I mean, early on with COVID, a lot of people thought that, it not only was created in a lab, but it was done with the design of a bioweapon. So I think bioweapons is probably our biggest concern in the future,
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. Dark chocolate specifically. Love dark chocolate.
Yeah, me too. Cats or dogs?
I might have to say cats, though, depending on the dog, they have a special place, But
All right.
Cats predominantly. Lizards, really. I think I've said that before, too. So
Okay. We'll start getting into some wrestling shortly.
Sure.
What's your worst vacation experience?
I had something in mind, but it's not appropriate.
Okay.
Jesus.
You want me to go first to just be lame?
Yeah. You'll
All
have
right.
to go first.
I'll tell everybody the short story of it. My father, because he worked 3 jobs when I was younger, and don't mind me if you see me playing with wires, I just realized my keyboard is blinking red, and the last thing I want is for the battery to die during the show. But my father, because he worked 3 jobs with us growing up just to support us, he never really got much free time. So the first trip that we were ever going to go on was to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I think we talked about this on Patreon once. And I think I was maybe about Elvis, we went to Wildwood, New Jersey. That was the first trip we ever went on, and Elvis died while we were in Wildwood. So this has got to be, I must have been maybe like 6 or 7 at the time.
Really?
And we were going to go to Hershey. And I remember being in my father's car, and I remember we packed and we started driving. About 20 or 30 minutes in, we hit rains that was so bad that he had to pull over and you couldn't even see. And it went on for about a half an hour. And my father said, let's just turn around and go home. And we didn't go. That was probably my worst vacation because there was none.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few times. I mean, I was supposed to go to vacation down in Barbados, but COVID kind of stopped all that. So I guess in that scenario, that's my worst vacation. But specifics, like, I don't know, nothing's coming to mind. I know I've got stories too. Dear Lord, I know I do, but it's not popping up. So,
by the way, everybody that sent questions in periodically during the show will shout out some. So I don't want anybody to be like, hey, you didn't mention my name. We will.
Right.
So we're just blending in the questions. We're going back and forth a little bit. All right. Some questions a little controversial.
Oh,
Your
boy.
thoughts? Yeah. Well, I just saw this one. Your thoughts on Kyle Rittenhouse being found not guilty?
Good. Look, so without getting too deep into it, I think that there's definitely a media slant on this. I think that it was painted differently as something that it really wasn't. I think people are under the impression that Rittenhouse being free is somehow some kind of victory for white nationalism. I don't see it that way. I didn't see it that way when I watched the video. I didn't see it that way when the jury, made their decision. I looked at it as more of a situation where, a guy was defending himself from people that were openly trying to kill him, were caught on camera screaming, "We're going to kill you." Like, and they try to use this state line shit. Now, look, I know where Kenosha is. I know where Itasca is. I make the trip back and forth from Wisconsin into Chicago and then back to Indiana all the fucking time. Like literally at least 2 times a month, I'm bouncing in between Indiana and Wisconsin. That's how close all 3 of our states are. And for me to go to Indiana, it's a 40-minute trip. For me to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin, it's a 40-minute trip. From where I'm at, it's 40 minutes each way. That's nothing, people. That's really nothing. It's not that, and he's even closer to Wisconsin than that. This kid's dad was there, his friends were there, one of his jobs was there. So it's like there was all this media slant, like this kid was looking for a fight and everything else like that. And I don't know. I'm reading the room. I'm looking at this kid. I don't see this kid as some kind of hardened, fascist that they want to portray him as. I just don't think this is it. I think the people that are getting upset and really thinking that this is some kind of blow against equality, against racial equality in some way, I don't think this was that. I mean, the kid went in there trying to put out a fire. I don't know. I see it differently, and it has nothing. Matter of fact, I don't see color with this case at all. I don't see how color even matters because the people that were shot in this scenario were white. They were the same color as Rittenhouse. I don't know. And maybe I'm just misunderstanding the situation. Maybe somebody that feels that this is a white nationalist, issue can maybe point out something that hasn't been, debunked through the media. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Everything that was going on at that time, I'm not talking about peaceful protesters. I'm talking about people running around in the streets with weapons. It reminds me of Escape from New York. Like maybe your intentions were not to go out and kill anybody that day, but if he was really out there to defend that area because he lived there, grew up there, hung out there, and he's running around by himself, to me, it's just like a whole bunch of people just running around, either looking for trouble or, I dare you. Yeah, go ahead, try. Yeah, anybody that fucks with me, I'm going to take them out. That's how I feel about it. Now, people, look, you could have the biggest asshole that picks fights with people or starts beating up people or punches someone out. That doesn't mean that they should be killed over it.
Do you realize the audacity of that situation? Like, let me just say this. The audacity of one 18-year-old kid, just turned 18. I know that they keep trying to paint him as like an underage kid. He's 18. It was legal for him to conceal and carry in Wisconsin. Like everything checked out, even though, once again, it was a weird media thing saying, no, he wasn't supposed to have the gun. It was illegal for him to have it. And he had like produced paperwork and everything else to prove it. But regardless of that, the audacity of one guy to go into a group of thousands of people and then try to take them all on. I mean, unless this kid turns out to have like some kind of a death wish, I don't understand how it's seen as like this us versus them stance when it was one individual person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Like if he had backup, like if he had 3 or 4 guys with him, I think I would have sided the other way.
Yeah.
Because to me, that would have looked like, no, this dude was out here to start shit. But one guy against an entire mob, I don't know. Read the room.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it was a guy who was out there to try and cause shit.
I think once they told him they were going to kill him, and one of them pointed their weapons, yeah, it's self-defense. So I believe he should have been found not guilty because of self-defense. Period.
What happened to the other guy? Why didn't the other guy get charged? The one with the other gun.
Right. No, I agree. I just feel, look, Derek Chauvin,
Yeah.
The jury made the right decision. Kyle Rittenhouse, jury made the right decision. In this country, you cannot have the decisions you want it to be. And when it's not the decision that you want it to be, and you look at the person's skin color and you immediately say, oh, it's because he's white is why he got off the hook. Guess what? People with that hardcore mentality, they're just as much as of the problem than people who do have nefarious views and thoughts.
Right. You devalue your platform. I mean,
Right.
when you sit there and you make excuses for things that have nothing to do with the case at hand, you devalue your position, you devalue your platform, and personally, you devalue your own honor.
Yeah,
you look less of a person. As a person, you look like less of a person to sit there and defend something or make excuses about something that have nothing to do with the facts at hand.
What happened 150 years ago with blacks is disgusting. What happened 100 years ago, the 60s, the 70s, a lot of racial profiling even to this day is disgusting. But, whenever somebody that is white goes on trial for some type of crime and it's controversial and the person gets off and people immediately cite race behind it, it doesn't make, the trial was presented and the jury acquitted him. And again, Derek Chauvin, they made the right decision. Kyle Rittenhouse, they made the right decision. But, this guy running around, that's that town during all those riots with a rifle, it's just, it's not, it's me versus the world. I don't buy that. He should not have been found guilty because he really was defending himself. But, I just think being there in the first place, I think he was just waiting. Anybody fucks with me?
I think he's a bit naive,
I got this.
Personally. I mean, when I saw Rittenhouse, when I saw him talk, when I saw him emotionally break down multiple times, and I know some people are like, oh, this dude's corny and fake as fuck. I didn't get that vibe. I got the vibe that this kid is just a little naive. Maybe he believes in America a little too much. Like, I had the feeling that this kid is apple pie. And you know what I mean? Like, he came off as he didn't come off as city. And let me tell you something too. Itasca is nothing like Chicago in any fucking way. The hardened people that you see in Chicago that live in that city life, they're not in fucking Itasca. Okay. So when you think of Itasca, you can think of a corn-fed homeboy at the same time. Not necessarily because the area is all farms or anything like that, but just because you're far enough away from Chicago that the things that happen in Chicago and the regular life of Chicago doesn't really affect people out in Itasca.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just have to throw that out there too, because it's like, I don't think people understand the mentality of a kid like this. I mean, honestly, 18-year-old kid, probably, I would say, well-to-do, in a very safe high school, very safe grammar school. There's not Itasca isn't exactly a hotbed of fucking crime. You know what I mean? You're talking about the suburban life, front yards, all white picket fence. Like, this is the environment that Rittenhouse was kind of raised in. Yeah. So when this whole thing went down and people are like, oh, fuck this guy, look at him faking, like he's faking. I'm like, no, there's no way that this kid is faking, because he's never been in a situation to sit there and fake it. He had like zero priors too, right? Like, he's never been in trouble with the law. He's clean-nosed kid. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get too deep, but I know we've given it a couple minutes more. I'm not openly trying to change people's opinions on the thing, but as a person who's been around Kenosha thousands of times in his life and goes back and forth from Wisconsin to Chicago all the time, it's not that far of a drive. It really isn't. And Itasca is even closer. I mean, they said 20 minutes. I know Fox News said 10 minutes, but they're a little off on that too. It's actually probably somewhere in the middle. It's a 15 to 17 minute drive. That's nothing, guys. That's literally a drive to the store.
Yeah.
So
okay. We'll go back to wrestling. Which gimmick did you like more? Abe Knuckleball Schwartz or the Goon?
Neither. I mean, they're both pretty lousy, but I guess the Goon.
Yeah, the Goon was better. He was better. I mean, dropping the gloves and
Right. At least a hockey player kind of makes sense. Baseball, not so much.
Yeah.
But a hockey player, I'm surprised they haven't done that again in a better way. Like you could almost see like a former hockey player wanting to get into wrestling and them WWE or AEW or anybody else figuring out a way to make that gimmick work in a less cornball fashion.
Yeah.
You know?
Why do we think hot dogs come in packs of 10 instead of 8?
I don't know. Why does sandwich bread come in squares when all sandwich meats are circle?
Yeah, I think it has to do with weight more than anything else. I mean, I buy packs that are 8. I buy packs that are 10. I just think it's more of weight than
Why
anything
do hot
else.
dogs not fit the actual bun? Like if you put a hot dog in the bun, there's like an inch left of room.
That could be.
You know,
I ate 2 hot dogs yesterday. Yeah. The most ferocious animal you think you could beat the shit out of with your bare hands?
What?
The most ferocious animal? She's inside microwaving something.
Jesus.
Maybe like a raccoon, or
I'll fuck with a honey badger. I'll just fucking man.
Maybe a raccoon, or maybe like a small shark. I think you just punch him in the eye or something.
Sure.
Who knows?
If it's a ferocious animal, I'm not fucking with it. How about that?
Yeah. Why do we think serial killers have mustaches? I tell you the truth, man. I'm looking at like Ted Bundy, and I look at the clown guy and David Berkowitz. Even though none of them have mustaches. I think he probably just focuses on serial killers with mustaches.
Or he's just trying to tell us that we're serial killers, DT. That's what.
Oh, that could be it. That could be it. What's your favorite food to eat on Thanksgiving and your least favorite? Like, what is something at the table that is always or usually served around Thanksgiving that you just don't like?
I like sweet potato pie. I really do.
Okay.
Sweet potatoes is good. Yams is good. Man, that I don't like. I like grits for breakfast. I don't like grits at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Not so much. Yeah.
All right. For me, Thanksgiving, I enjoy turkey. I like turkey. White meat, preferably. I can't stand cranberry sauce. I don't like cranberry sauce.
Okay, now there's 2 kinds. Now there's the cranberry sauce that comes out of the can that just, you know what I mean? Or there's the actual fucking cranberry sauce. Usually people make it with the actual cranberries in there and stuff like that. Like an actual, is it both? Is it all
Probably
cranberry?
both. Yeah, I would say both. I mean, believe it or not, up until about 5 years ago, I would have said sweet potatoes also. But my brother's wife's sister made the sweet potatoes with marshmallows in them and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I ate that like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Now I can eat sweet potatoes.
Yeah, you get a little marshmallows on top. Usually they bake them in there, and they get it with I don't know, like a different kind of, like they use sugar and stuff on there and like different kinds of sweets, so that when you actually bite into the sweet potatoes, they almost have like a caramelized crust too. So it's got like a little bit of a kick to it. But yeah, no, they're delicious. Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast today?
I had. Oh my God, what did I have? Oh, I had some honey mustard potato chips.
Nice. That gives me flashbacks. I've had many times where I ate potato chips or pretzels or cheese doodles for breakfast. Absolutely, man. For me today, I had a coffee, and then
coffee too.
Around 12 o'clock, I had a grilled chicken Caesar salad. I usually don't eat breakfast. I'll have like a very big lunch, and then I'll have a light dinner. Usually I try, like I know a lot of people, they have one meal a day. That's like the in thing now with diets. I can't go one meal a day. Maybe one big meal and then a light one to like
Actually, I'm
polish off the
surprised you're
night.
saying that because one meal a day is how I got into my situation. The less you eat, you would think that it actually means that you would lose weight. Not true. If you're not active and you only eat one meal a day, that becomes just pure fat.
Yeah, it slows down your metabolism then.
Completely, right.
Yeah. Favorite Bullet Club member of all time? For me, it's Finn Balor.
Yeah, Finn.
Yeah, you were just going to say Finn too. Yeah, Finn Balor is really what got me into the Bullet Club originally.
Yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you consider The Rock the greatest of all time?
No,
Thank you.
not for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he is for a lot of people, especially people a little bit younger than us that maybe didn't get a chance to see some of the 80s heyday. But no, Rock is fucking up there. I mean, he's top 3. But for me, no. He's not.
All right. This is an AEW one. Interesting. Right. Who do you think is going to be the wrestler to beat Hangman Page for the championship?
I think
it makes you think.
Well, I think he'll lose it eventually back to Kenny Omega.
Okay.
I think it's going to go back to Kenny Omega. I think he's going to have a stepping stone with obviously Danielson. I think that they're going to have an amazing match. I don't think that the title will go over to Danielson, but I think Danielson will be the guy to do the right thing. I think Omega's going to end up with the title again. And it's not a shot on Hangman Page, not trying to say that he can't hold it or whatever else like that. But I have a feeling like their feud isn't done yet. They're not done yet. I don't accept that Kenny just loses the belt and he never goes after it again. I would not be surprised if Kenny and Hangman Page bounce the title back and forth a few times. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that that's only a logical choice, but it might not be.
Pineapple on pizza. Approve or disapprove?
Only works with ham, and it's a special type of pizza. It's a thin crust. You can't do that shit no deep dish,
Yeah, no pineapple on my pizza. Hell no.
I'm not a fan of it, dude, but I've had it a few times, like with the Canadian bacon. It's not horrendous, but it's not pizza. It almost changes. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, it's all the same ingredients, but it's not fucking pizza. It changes the dynamic of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And how about all those people yesterday that got smacked in the face with random slices of pizza?
Oh, not for nothing. I'm sorry. I hate to sound like morbid, but I thought you were going to talk about, say, Wisconsin with that.
Oh, no.
When you said smack in the face. My God. Did you hear about this guy? He actually ran over the mother of his child and they let him out like on $1,000 bail or something like that. And then he plows into a Christmas parade yesterday. I mean, just awful. I mean, everybody out there, I mean, that's just horrible. I just hate the tension in this world right now. It really sucks. I mean, I wanted so many times between the shows and my parents and my fiance, and I just want to stay in my own little world, but you're forced to venture out into the real world and to see what's going on. This climate is just awful. It's awful. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to get too deep, but I'm so glad I don't have kids that got to grow up in this world right now. I don't want kids to grow up in this world. Seriously. I'll enjoy the time I have and that's it. Bye-bye. I'm out of here. So, McDonald's or Burger King?
Burger King.
I gotta go with Mickey D's. I just, for some reason, there's always something about Burger King that pulls me back. The flame broiled to me is not as good as it's portrayed to be. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the onions. It depends on if
you get it fresh. Dude, I've had some horrible Burger King, don't get me wrong. I mean, when that shit's been sitting in the slider box for like fucking 10 hours, it's gross. But when you can smell the grill going and you can see the smoke firing up and you know that they're making them fresh right there, those are pretty good, man. There's an absolute flavor to that's enjoyable.
I didn't answer before Hangman Page. Believe it or not,
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I just realized I didn't answer it. Believe it or not, I think Adam Cole is going to be the one to dethrone him.
Oh,
I don't know why. I just, like Adam Cole or Miro or somebody like that. I think somebody like that is going to eventually dethrone him. Just the vibe that I have. Well, this question, I think we know our answers. New York pizza or Chicago pizza, Mish?
I'll go with Detroit pizza. Come on.
I know. You're going to choose Chicago. I'm going to choose New York.
Right.
Obviously.
I was actually kind of surprised yesterday. It threw me off. I don't know if you caught this. I didn't know that Kev doesn't like New York pizza.
Honestly, I don't think I ever had the conversation with him about pizza in the past.
That's wild, though.
It is wild.
You're a real New Yorker. Like, you're fucking born and raised. He's like, it's not as good as it used to be. I'm like, wow.
Well, that's on the pizzeria. I mean, where I live, there's still awesome pizza. I mean, I went off keto for one day about 2 months ago. I went over my mom's house and, she thought it was so cool that, she was like, you going to eat normal today? And I'm like, yeah, what do you want? She's like, pizza. I had 5 slices of regular pizza, not all at one sitting. I think I ate two in the beginning, 2 a couple of hours later, and then 1 right before I went to bed. Seriously, if I wanted to right now, I could down 6 slices of pizza like this.
Oh, yeah.
New York pizza, folded. Hot with the cheese. Ugh. Awesome. Last movie you watched in a movie theater?
Shit. I should remember this, but man, I don't off the top of my head.
Mine was that, what's that movie? My Precious.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the last time I've been in a movie theater.
I know the last one I saw was Endgame in the theaters with one of the kiddos and stuff like that. But I think I've seen something since then. I just can't put my finger on it. So,
Zombies, how many pay-per-views did we watch in the black market before the network? I mean,
uncountable.
Yeah. I mean, Absolutely. I've seen every one. Yeah. I mean, over the years, back in the 90s, we had illegal cable boxes so we could watch the pay-per-views for free. Right. Sometimes we would, there's some underground links online where we could watch them for free, but, it's countless. It's countless.
Right.
It's countless. One sentence. You only allowed one sentence.
Okay.
WCW's dumbest booking decision.
Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, finger poke of doom. I mean, I understand that a majority of people are going to throw David Arquette under the bus for that. But after hearing Russo's countless times that he's tried to explain why he did it, and if it would have worked, it would have gone differently. I can see that. There was no benefit to the finger poke of doom other than ego. That's what it really was all about. So,
yeah. See, I would almost say Russo winning the title.
Oh, that was pretty bad.
It was so he lost it immediately. I mean, he wasn't champion that long. It was more of Goldberg spearing him. He falls out of the cage and he wins. So, yes, it was.
The one thing I'll defend Russo on that is the weird thing about Russo's booking is looking at it in hindsight, you almost have the feeling like Russo was booking ahead of his time. And what I mean by that was he was trying to book those matches where he won with like the help of everybody and Jeff Jarrett. He's wearing the stupid hockey gear and shit like that.
The football.
He was almost trying to outsmart the system, but he was the system. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he was trying to give people these crazy swerves and drama and these things that you don't normally think would end up in a wrestling match. And to the fans at home at the time, they're like, what the fuck is this shit? We just want to see wrestling, dude. Like, Absolutely. We don't want you on TV. But in his mind, and this is, I don't know if he's ever defended it this way or not, but in his mind, it always felt like he was trying to be smarter than the smartest wrestling fans. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't book like that. It doesn't work that way. The smartest wrestling fans are the lowest common denominator of wrestling fandom. They're the most niche, minute audience out there.
Yes.
So booking to cater to a few thousand people is going to alienate the hundreds of thousands that are continuing to watch the show. So I always felt Vince Russo's biggest failure was trying to outdo himself. But as far as the worst decision, I still got to stick with Kevin Nash and Hogan. It's just all fucking ego.
Yeah, because that showed a bigger problem with the creative and behind the scenes and pull.
Right.
So it wasn't just that one night.
Guaranteed
It represented
contracts.
a bigger problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite pay-per-view of all time, wrestling-wise, least favorite. Now, I'll make this easy because I actually mentioned it yesterday. Extreme Rules, the horror show, I think is my least favorite wrestling pay-per-view that I could remember. My favorite pay-per-view still is probably ECW Heatwave 98. I don't know why, but that's a pay-per-view that if I put it on, I'll watch the entire thing from beginning to end without getting up or nothing. Like, there's very few pay-per-views that when you put it on, you watch it from beginning to end nonstop. And that pay-per-view is one that I just enjoy from beginning to end.
So my favorite of all time is going to go to WrestleMania 6, Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan. For me, it's just a staple because that's really the loving point where I became a true diehard wrestling fan. You're right, there are better ones. War Games and WCW was fantastic. Worst one of all time, and it might have changed over the years. I'd have to go back. But Great American Bash 2004 was awful. Fucking awful. Tori Wilson should be just barred from the business for even being the poster child for that mess.
That was the year before we had the fake Obama and the fake Hillary, I think. That was the year before.
Yeah, no, that was in the ring. No, that was Donald Trump and
and Rosie. That might have been Donald Trump and Rosie. Oh my God. That was freaking awful.
Yeah, that was with who was the other guy with? It was CM Punk, Colt Cabana, and Ace
Sterling. No,
yeah, he was the one that played Trump, right?
Oh, I don't remember. It could be. I don't know why that name. That might have been.
Yeah, but and Great American Bash was really bad. I mean, even the card was really rough. You had a fatal four-way with Rene Dupree in the mix.
Yeah.
Luther Reigns versus Charlie Haas. Kenzo Suzuki versus Billy Gunn. Sable versus Tori Wilson. Now, this is 2004 Sable. This is the second Playboy.
Yeah, when she came back and was with Vince.
And she was just awful.
Mm-hmm.
Mordecai and Hardcore Holly. Was this the JBL and Eddie Guerrero match where he bled like a sieve?
And then they did the angle where he collapsed the next day. I remember that.
Yeah, he fucked up with Eddie Guerrero and really broke him open. That was just
Shout out to Joe Punch's Thriving Addict, Alex Romero, Sean Bedard, Darren Gordon Hill, Lascelles Williams. Which do we enjoy more? TNA's peak or AEW this year?
Oh, TNA's peak.
Yeah.
TNA's peak was a lot more fun, and I just, as silly as Dixie was, I think there was a lot more homegrown talent in TNA than there was WWE and WCW talent. And I think that because they got by on their own laurels, I mean, you go back to the early 2002 days of TNA, they were doing the weekly pay-per-views and stuff like that. That was really a lot of homegrown talent. That was your Flying Elvises and Sonjay Dutt and Rocky Romero, and who else did they have in there? Elix Skipper and Christopher Daniels. And like, there was a lot of Kid Cash, like there was a lot of talent in there. Trinity. And they had a good crop of unknown or little known talents, but then they also did have big names because they picked up Ron Killings immediately. They picked up Sting immediately. They definitely peppered in some, more known guys that came from obviously WWE and WCW. But I think at the end of the day, I think TNA was focused on new talent first, and AEW doesn't necessarily feel like that to me. So,
okay. Rank these mob movies from most favorite to least favorite. A Bronx Tale, The Irishman, Casino, or Mean Streets.
I don't think I've ever seen Mean Streets. So I guess that would be
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen it too, so I'm going to leave Mean Streets out. So you got Bronx Tale, The Irishman, Casino.
Bronx Tale, Casino, Irishman.
Okay, I'll go Casino 1, Bronx Tale 2, The Irishman 3. Bet Phoenix or Awesome Kong?
Awesome Kong. Oh, Awesome Kong all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Beth Phoenix is fucking fantastic, or definitely was fantastic in the ring. But yeah, Kong did so much more with her career. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Why did I stop watching horror films? I'm just not into the gore anymore. And, I don't know, just not interested in it. Even the suspense and the, I'll watch documentaries and I'll watch about mass murderers and, I'm intrigued about, there's just the psychological part of it, but horror films, I just fell out of love with. I don't know. It's just, I brought it up before. I mean, I look back on it, it's a little odd that my grandmother would take me to like Zombie and Dawn of the Dead and Maniac and others when I was like 10 years old, 12 years old. It was a little surprising. Right. My taste in music, and this is for you also. For me, I still love house music, disco, hip house, old school hip hop, old school rap. I do love classic rock, little metal as well. I mean, Pink Floyd, one of my favorite groups of all time. Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. Yes. I mean, one of the first albums as a kid that I ever owned was, yes, Fragile and Close to the Edge. It was a double 2-pack. And I think that was from like 1969 or 71 or something. It was just, really? I got an interesting taste of music. What about you, Mish? I know yours is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, predominantly like an industrial music. But I'm a big fan of 90s alternative metal, more like doom metal than anything else. Everything I was raised underneath Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, Frank Zappa and the Mothers, Pink Floyd. My first groups that I fell in love with where I was finding my own flavor in music, I started up with The Police, U2, and then eventually when Nirvana and everybody else came around, they kind of dictated a lot there too. Industrial music, Nine Inch Nails, Ministry, Leather Strip, Habas, Bauhaus even. Shit, I'm getting the band names mixed up. But it's just different kinds of flavors. Even recently, I've been getting more into a Canadian folk music, which is funny to say, but it's pretty dark. It's a little bit more dismal, and Canadian folk music is pretty good, like Timber, and what is it, All of Us Saints or All Saints Us or something like that. So
yeah, you too. When I show everybody my camping video montage from 25 years ago, you will hear a lot of YouTube music playing in the background. A lot of YouTube. Did I say YouTube? Yeah. No, a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot of YouTube music. Favorite pie, not cake, pie. Like apple, cherry, banana cream.
Banana cream, yeah. Banana cream or chocolate cream, those are both good.
Okay, cherry for me. Favorite season?
Winter, only because it's like fall and winter, I guess, is really what it is, and I don't know, it's the visuals of it is very nice to me, just watching all the leaves turn and fall off, and then watching in the winter where it's like all of these things, like these giant trees and bushes and everything everywhere, and there's not a leaf on them. They're just all bare skeletons, and you're just literally looking at an entire season of skeletons. So
I get very sad in the wintertime. Around Christmas time, I get very sad. Very sad. I don't even want to bring up why. It's just,
right.
Family is no longer here, and the holidays is really where I reminisce a lot. So for me, springtime, you get those days that you hit the 60s or the 70s, or you hit 70 degrees, and look, when I show everybody the camping stuff, there's a couple of fishing things where we're freshwater fishing and it's December or even like in March and it's 72 degrees out. And it's just that tease of warmer weather. I love springtime. Mish, do you watch hockey? And if so, your favorite team?
I'm a total bandwagon fan. I watch the Hawks and stuff like that. Although, as of recent news with the Hawks, I don't know how much of a bandwagon fan I'll be jumping back on for. But no, I don't regularly watch the season.
Okay. For me, it's the New York Rangers. Always has. I got Ranger jerseys in the closet. We're flying by over here. We're almost done, believe it or not. So good questions. Good. I'm trying to mix them up, as we go along. Better movie star at this point, Dave Bautista or John Cena? And I love that he didn't put The Rock in there.
I have to say John Cena. Dave Bautista did Hotel Artemis. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy. And while the characters that he's done a few others too, he did the Vampire, the Bodyguard movie that he's got coming out too. He's not a bad actor. And I got to see his newest one because, like I said, I think it's a little bit more comedic. But he's always kind of played the meathead. You know what I mean? Like he's almost put in a stereotypical role, and that's the way he's done. And don't get me wrong, he's really fucking good. So he can take that atypical role and he can do something special with it, which is why he was a part of these major franchises. But John Cena, I think, has kind of played that action role too. But he's also played the comedy role. He's also played the sidekick. He's versatile. John Cena, and obviously even more recently with the Suicide Squad and stuff like that, he's played a little bit more of a serious role, even though it was definitely action. I think that he can kind of break out of his own mold. I think John Cena has a little bit of the acting chops. I can see him doing a different kind of acting. Actually, I would be very interested to see if John Cena could do a dramatic character, like a legit, not funny.
Oh, yeah. I see him doing a big dramatic. Didn't he do one with a little kid?
I don't know. And I could see that too. Yeah. I was even like a military thing, like almost like what is it? Like the Valor Saints or the Saints of Valor or some shit. I forget what the fuck that movie is called. But, not a Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth kind of moment, but I could
a crime film, like a really sad,
like A Few Good Men. Like I can see him in a military film of some sort.
Yeah. Much love to KD. Thank you for the kind words, my friend. Okay. What was your favorite year doing shows? Approximate. Could be 1 or 2 year span.
I really loved 2012. 2012 was really good. That's when me and Joey really found our stride, and we got rewarded for that to go to San Francisco to the Stitcher Awards. And it was really impressive. And I want to say maybe 2016, 2017, right around there too. That was a lot of fun in those early days too. So yeah.
For me, on the surface, 2020 and 2021, but that's not fair because those are the only year and a half or so that I've been doing video. So to be able to get animated and do stupid things on video, that's something that I was not able to do for the first 23 years. So if we keep the video side of it on the side, my favorite years would either be 01, 02, because I got to work for ECW, just pushing tickets. Let's be honest. That was in 2000. But when WCW and ECW went out of business in 01, it was a very intriguing year to do hotlines. 02 is when I did work for XPW and started running bus trips and started, selling crazy ass tickets and having a fun hotline and starting to upload shows online. Mish has said this before, and I'm not saying this, to try to be conceited, but whoever has the who holds the title of having the first podcast, webcast that people would download. I think that's been claimed in like 2004. And I'm like, I was putting stuff online in 2002, and Wayback Machine proves that. But I never was really serious in pursuing that. But, that was more hotlines, though.
Right.
I would say 07, 08. But it was a different era because even like the tone, and we were much nastier and much more brash. And, you got like Bully Ray threatening to beat my ass and having wars with people. I mean, they were fun, but, obviously a much different era. A lot of things, that, my attitude back then has changed dramatically, but those periods are probably my favorites. Who do you think should be the final member of Team Io Shirai for War Games? Kaylee Ray or Asuka?
Oh, well, shit. That's a choice. Asuka.
Yeah.
Look,
it was up to
Ray
me.
is-
I choose Asuka, but I think Kaylee Ray
Right.
is more likely of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shit, if Asuka's the choice, who wouldn't pick Asuka?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to Rye Baker, Prince Albertz, Paul Bielawski, Larry C., Nero Fay. What's going on? How about doing a Matarazzi of the week? Someone that says something dumb, could be somebody in wrestling or not. Believe it or not, I have done things like that before. If you notice, like I really haven't cursed that much on this show, but
You used to
the dopey,
if
the
I
dopey
recall.
dumb cunt comment of the week.
right, but you also had the awards
Yes.
because I remember making you the little trophy that we
Yeah.
placed on a few people over the years. So yeah, now you've had this bit for years and years and years. Yeah.
Look, in the early days of Patreon, we had a page called Matarazzi.
Right.
And, but I just, everybody at some point says some dumb things, but to label someone, I mean, it's funny and it's fun. And I know it's something that could be done, but I'd rather just address the stupid comments than actually give somebody an award, because then you start seeking out like, oh, who said the dumbest. A lot of people that say dumb things, I always feel you don't give them acknowledgement. Like that moron that time that said Eddie Guerrero was always a B+ player. The person saying that was just trolling people. And when he got all that attention, he got exactly what he was looking for. So usually people with dumb comments, unless it's somebody big in wrestling, Tony Khan or somebody else saying something stupid, that's when, I would address it. Let's see. Which tag team should have been tag team champions? Crime Time, Big Kaz, and Enzo, or Heavy Machinery? If you could choose one of those three teams that should have been a tag team champion.
Enzo and Cass. Absolutely. Whoops, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Enzo and Cass, absolutely.
Oh, boy. I tell you, man. Wow, that's kind of rough. I kind of lead towards Crime Time. Only because, and not because Shad Gaspard passed away. I would still go with Crime Time. I think if Enzo and Kaz would have been in WWE a little bit longer, then I would have gone with those two. But at Crime Time, I'm just surprised they never got a run. I mean, if you really want to go a little bit further, did Breezango ever have a tag team championship outside of NXT? I don't think so.
No.
I probably would go with Breezango more than anything. Believe it or not, out of all the teams.
Enzo and Cass. I think
Okay.
Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer. Yeah.
They were insanely over, and people that didn't watch wrestling watched just to see Enzo and Cass come out there and talk shit. I think at that point, Enzo and Cass had a storyline that was bigger than the wrestling itself. All the more reason that you highlight those guys should have been done. But obviously, as we know, WWE had different reasons for not liking Enzo. So,
Okay. Who's a better heel, Roman Reigns or MJF?
MJF. Roman Reigns is a fantastic heel. But here's the thing is Roman Reigns is also surrounded by the Usos. He's surrounded by Paul Heyman. He's surrounded by years of a forced babyface push that people like him now that he's a heel. MJF had to legit crawl and fucking scratch his way and talk shit to everyone, and still does, through social media, through the TV shows, and everything else to establish himself. I'm not saying that Roman Reigns was handed his success by any means, but I think MJF's path took a lot more. And from a smaller company when AEW started till now, he's been a consistent source of being that level of an asshole to where people in wrestling, fans of wrestling, and fans or people that aren't fans of wrestling all have similar distaste for the guy. Meanwhile, a majority of us who respect his work, though, as well. I think MJF's path, especially considering his namesake, there is none. He's built it all himself. So, yeah. I mean, Chris Jericho obviously was a major help to that too. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really MJF's show on that. So,
Okay.
Sorry. But
do we think
Your thought?
AEW will be sustainable if it continues to operate like this?
No, not at all. Look, we don't know the actual numbers, and I'm constantly bagging on Tony Khan for the newest lie of the week that he has. That's what I should start with this guy. This week he did an interview shit-talking WWE's contracts, saying that they're not contracts, they're just temporary agreements. And he literally says in this interview, he's like, I've never said that we're the biggest company or we make the most money. Yet he just did an interview with Business Insider, and he did one earlier with Forbes, where he says he's the biggest company in the world in 2019. He makes the most money in wrestling in 2019. So Tony Khan is full of shit. With that said, that worries me for the future of AEW, because even though this guy is a con man, pause for applause. The reality is it doesn't strike me as a responsible person, or even with all of this money, it doesn't strike me as a guy who understands how to keep this company running for the best. So,
okay. KFC or Popeyes?
Popeyes. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. I would have chose KFC if they didn't change their French fries. They used to have those thick potato wedges. Now they have regular fries.
Yeah.
So now I go with Popeyes. Favorite Latino wrestler, not named Eddie Guerrero.
I'm really crushing hard on Santos lately. Santos Escobar. I see a lot of fucking positivity from that guy. That dude, and I try to explain to other people, they're like, well, Santos and Hit Row. I'm like, no. You don't see it. Every time I look at Santos, I see a guy, and he's got a great smile. He's got great visuals. He's the kind of guy that'll shake your hand and you've already got 6 inches of steel in the back of your fucking neck. I don't trust this dude at all. And that is a fantastic quality to have for a TV character personality. He carries himself like the ultimate scumbag. Legado del Fantasma work fantastic together. Elektra coming out of fucking nowhere, and she is just the queen of the South. It works. Santos Escobar, I mean, if we're talking about recent Latinos, he's on the top of my list.
Okay. Do we think Kenny Omega would ever, for me, Rey Mysterio right now, but Andrade is quickly becoming one of my more favorites. I just like, I don't know, maybe because he's teaming with Malachi a little bit, but do we think Kenny Omega would ever return to New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Sure. Yeah. Of course. Money.
Absolutely. If we had any chance to manage a wrestler today, who would it be?
Oh, geez.
I would manage Tony D'Angelo.
I don't fantasize about things like that, but that is Tony D'Angelo and you, I could see that. That'd be kind of fucking funny. Yeah.
No, it warmed my heart yesterday when I know it wasn't, it's just coincidental, but on all the shows lately, especially on Thursdays, like every week, I'm like, hey, oh, and Paul Heyman yesterday, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm like, oh my God, I do that every week on the shows. So loved it. But I would manage Tony D'Angelo. I would do it.
Wow. Shayna Baszler.
Nice. Okay.
Shayna Baszler needs someone in her corner to help amplify her monster abilities. I think Shayna Baszler is a fantastic athlete. She goes out there and she impresses me all the time. But it's always weird. It's like the things that she does that is fantastic, like crippling Nia Jax, like crippling Dana Brooke. You know, like these moments that or not Dana Brooke. What's her name that just got fired? Why am I blanking on her name?
Ember Moon?
Evolution. Eva Marie.
Oh, Eva Marie.
So, right. So they have these fantastic moments, but they don't capitalize on that. I think if she had her own version, maybe not of a fast talker like a Paul Heyman, I think Shayna would become a much more important player. So, yeah.
Okay. If you could repackage one active wrestler right now, who would it be? Repackage one person. Repackage one person.
I know, because there's a few names that come to mind, but I think my answer will surprise everyone because it's kind of surprising myself. Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes needs a complete fucking overhaul. Complete overhaul. This dude needs to be off TV. He needs to stop being pissed off at the world. He needs to stop canceling his social media accounts. He needs somebody to give him a fucking hug. And he needs to reintroduce himself to AEW if he wants to play the role of his father's name is the backbone of this company. He needs to reintroduce himself to the audience in a way that he doesn't come off like such a cunt. And you would probably get more fans with sugar than you would with shit. But yeah, Cody Rhodes is a guy that I don't even think his character needs to be repackaged. I think his life needs to be repackaged. So
I'll go with some little lighter. Von Wagner.
Oh, you don't like Caveman?
I want him to be like a horror guy. I mean, I'm not saying like Harlan or Joe Gacy, but Von Wagner looks like the perfect psycho, just killer of a horror film. He could be the next monster, not like Kane, but he could be the next monster in WWE, like monster character, not psycho, but slasher. Von Wagner. Thank you, Dream 101. Would I ever consider moving out of New York City? Absolutely. I told my mom 2 weeks ago that hopefully it's not for decades, but once they're gone, I am seriously going to look into moving out of New York, me and my fiance.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe Connecticut, maybe somewhere, in the mountains, somewhere where there's nobody nearby. So I don't have to deal with all the city bullshit. I say that now, but I'm just not enjoying, what's going on in New York right now. I mean, there's a lot of other places, and, a place right now that's pretty peaceful could turn into the opposite in the future. But as of right now, yes, I would definitely consider getting out of New York. Buy or sell, Mish? Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13, or The Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell?
Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in a Cell, buy.
Okay.
I mean, they're both good. Yeah, no, Undertaker, Mankind is Austin, Bret, fantastic match, staple match. It's the identity of what a good match is. But you're never going to find a spectacle like Undertaker, Mankind ever again. We just won't.
Yeah. Me, I believe it or not, I actually would go with Bret and Steve Austin. I don't know. That match, I still, Undertaker and Mick Foley was epic, and shouldn't have happened, some of the things that happened. So, favorite type of pizza?
Deep dish.
Okay. For me,
cheesy crust deep dish.
Yeah, I love a cheesy crust. I absolutely love when they have cheese inside the crust. Believe it or not, there is a type of Sicilian pizza in New York called upside down or inside out. And usually they'll actually make the pizza with the cheese underneath the sauce. It's usually a square piece. and it's incredible. That pizza, if you get it from the right pizzeria, that is out of this world. It's almost like a combination. It's like a cross of New York pizza and Chicago pizza, because you have the sauce as the final ingredient, and it's a thicker square slice. Lucky number
13.
Okay, for me it's 44. It's always been 44. We already did soda. We already did hobbies. Favorite Undertaker feud of all time.
Undertaker Mankind.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Who do you dislike in wrestling the most right now? I think we both have the same answer. No, just
personally.
TV.
Oh, Seth Rollins.
Oh, okay. For me, it's Cody. Nothing personal with Cody. I just, no interest in seeing him wrestle on TV. No interest. Cody.
Cody, you see, and I think that's where a lot of misconception comes from. People think that I've always disliked Cody, and I'm like, that's totally not true. I loved Cody back in WWE. Absolutely adored the guy. Loved dashing Cody Rhodes, loved face mask Cody Rhodes and brown paper bag, and even Stardust. I was okay with Stardust, even though that was a wacky turn for that gimmick. Even when he was with Ted DiBiase, I don't know. I really always enjoyed the guy. And when he went to AEW, his idea for what his gimmick should be was, it's just nothing I want to see. It makes people feel awkward. And it's an odd thing to watch. It's amazing because his brother handles it a million times better than he does. So, but no, as far as on TV, yeah, Seth is, oh God. I could go my entire life without hearing another Seth Rollins.
Shout out to Willie G. Thank you for the Tool Unlimited music video and the Cherry WWF entrance video. Cherry was, I feel bad. To this day, I still feel bad for that, Mish, about Cherry. For the people that don't know, back in the day, I had made a remark on one of the episodes. They said that Cherry had a fat ass. And she had heard it and got very offended by it. And I said it more as a joke. And I think I even said at the time that I like a little meat on someone's ass. But she was very self-conscious about her butt. I mean, we're talking 15 plus years ago, but I felt bad about that at the time. And yes, wrestling is like a traveling circus when it comes to town. I mean, it's especially, nowadays, because back in the day, we would get a lot of wrestling promotions that would stay in the New York area. So it was almost like a monthly occurrence. But now it's like traveling. Sorry, I see that. Gary Coleman versus Gary Oldman. Who would you take?
Oldman.
Yeah, it's not even close. You destroy Gary Coleman. No offense. What was your reaction when Eric Bischoff challenged Vince McMahon to a match at Slamboree 98?
Oh my God. Wow.
I so wanted to see that.
I was definitely on board with that. But at the same time, I was just kind of shocked because I was thinking, I'm like, see, that's where my gears were twisting even as a kid. I'm like, is this a work? Are they all working together? Is WCW and WWE just all getting paid the same now? And that was the first thought, was like, how in the fuck can you do that? Like, this isn't the territories. You don't have territories versus other territories like this anymore. So I think that was the first time. I was very wrong, of course, but it was the first time I thought, wow, maybe this Vince and Eric Bischoff thing is going to happen. So
I remember when the pay-per-view aired and Vince didn't show. I mean, we kind of figured it, but we were just, everybody at that time, everybody knew that, they weren't going to really fight. Like we fantasized, like, you think Vince would really try to knock him out?
Sure.
It was fascinating at the time. Tony Khan is so wrong with what he said recently about that moment. They didn't get it.
No.
Did you enjoy Kurt Angle's run in ECW back in 06? It's when he first.
I don't remember it. I don't think he had much of a run. Did he?
He had. It was good, but
I mean,
him going to TNA.
06. I don't know why I thought you just said 96. Holy
06.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
ECW run.
Right, right. Well, that was ECW too when he was supposed to be signed. And then he saw Sandman on a cross, and he's like,
No, well, we're talking WWE's ECW.
I know. You said 06. I heard
Yeah.
96. I don't know why,
Yeah.
even though that year is wrong too. But
No, 96 is right with the Sandman cross thing. That was
was
96.
it? Was it 96?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it might have been 97. Whatever. Yeah, he was kind of yoked. I do remember it for what it was. Kurt Angle could do no wrong. He really couldn't do any wrong. And you have to understand, while we're watching the rest of WWE fall apart with the ruthless aggression days and shit like that, and some of the corny people that were coming up. I mean, Jesus Christ, we just got done talking about Rene Dupree. Look at me being in the fucking main event at Great American Bash. WWE's direction was all over the place, but Kurt Angle could always put up fucking numbers. Kurt Angle could go out there and just have amazing matches. And I don't think, even as a fan, I recognized how dangerous he was becoming, not necessarily to other people, but to himself.
Yeah. Because
I was still looking at Kurt Angle going, this guy's a fucking madman. He's great. Everything this man touches turns to fucking gold. And that's really what it was. He was one of the highlights for watching ECW back in the day, the WWE version of ECW. Yeah. So when he eventually was released and went to TNA, I mean, that was a big blow, I thought, to WWE and to a lot of fans. But he got better, before he got worse, then he got better. But he was on a different change in his life, and he did very well in TNA. But yeah, no, 06 was a solid year for Kurt, even up until the end.
Okay. Name one item you regret buying. I'm looking at a couple of mine already. Certain lights. I bought these lights that change colors. I mean, I have one right here that I could put on. That one is good, but I bought multiple lights thinking that, I have one here and one here and one here. And, I'm going to probably put them at the other house, but, I regret buying them. Very expensive lights that were just not necessary.
Yeah, I bought bad mixers over the years, bad microphones and stuff that are still sitting in a fucking case somewhere, headphones that just sound like shit because, you hear them in one place and then you try them out at home and it's already too late because you ordered it online. So a lot of audio equipment that just was a waste of time.
Yeah. Name one overrated movie. I'll give you one right now, The Irishman. I still say it. Overly hyped. I didn't like it at all.
It wasn't horrible, but the hype was out of this world. You thought you were going to watch Gladiator 2. I would say, as far as overly hyped, that Ghostbusters, that remake, not the last one with all the women, that was just awful.
By the way, shout out to Mama Eaton. That's from your son, Doug. She is looking down, enjoying the shows. What is one critical advice that you would give yourself, your 20 or 30-year-old self, that you wish somebody told you back then?
Pay more attention to your credit score.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. For me, take every opportunity that is offered to you. Don't pass it up because you may never get that opportunity again. 20 years ago would have been 2001. And there was a couple of opportunities, even with wrestling, that I passed up at that time that I regret passing up. In my 20s, don't drive like a maniac because I'm still paying that price today. I don't drive like a maniac anymore, but I was very reckless. When I had my accident in 96, that was for one reason and one reason only. I had the choice to either get brand new tires for my Grand Prix or get a nice jack stereo system. I went and I bought new speakers for my stereo system instead of tires. And sure enough, somebody cuts me off in a bad rainstorm and I went through a telephone pole. So, if money wasn't an issue, one country or city outside the U.S. and Canada you would love to go
to? Probably the UK, Hungary, Japan, Barbados. A lot of little places I want to go. Yeah.
I would choose those. I would add Italy. I went to Italy in the mid 80s. I would love to go back. More in the country area though. Who would we book as the next 3 AEW champions? Now, he didn't say heavyweight champions. So it could be TNT champions. I'm going to choose MJF.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose Mirdo's got to get a title back. Or I would even consider Malachi Black and Andrade as a tag team champion.
Thunder Rosa.
Yes.
Thunder Rosa needs a title. Britt's had it for a while. I think it's time for her to move along for a little bit. MJF, I totally agree with you. I think MJF definitely deserves a title, and Malachi Black definitely deserves a title. So
okay. On Thanksgiving, what do you prefer, ham or turkey?
Turkey, but dark meat.
Yeah. Okay. We already talked pie. Your favorite Survivor Series of all time?
Oh gosh. Wow, I should have saw this one coming. What was it, 94? The first one?
I liked when The Undertaker debuted.
Yeah, with the teams, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing that even last night, it really doesn't even feel like Survivor Series anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like they give you 2 matches just to kind of quell, your taste buds for what the original Survivor Series was like. But I miss the days when you would have 5-on-5 teams and they would cut promos together and it was like a setup and, but I don't know.
Yeah. Piggybacking on that, James Cambell, we would prefer Survivor Series matches, but I mean, some of the wacky teams back in the day, the one that they had Piper and Snooker on the same team. I mean, it's these days, it's more about the brands feuding instead of maybe one individual wrestler feuding with another individual wrestler and putting a team together to try to combat the other particular wrestler. It's almost like when they did with Crown Jewel, when they had Hogan and Flair and they assembled their own army. I mean, believe it or not, if they would have done something like that more for Survivor Series, I think it actually would have worked a lot better. So give me old school Survivor Series matches any day of the week.
Sometimes they forget what really brought them to the dance. So.
Yeah. Favorite wrestling video game that is not named No Mercy or Here Comes the Pain?
Oh, I've said this before. I mean, my favorite wrestling game is a game that nobody really plays. It's called Adam Ryland's EWR, Elite Wrestling Revenge, or TEW, Total Extreme Warfare, Total Extreme Wrestling.
All right.
It's a Booker game. I've always enjoyed the Booker side of things, and if you ever get a chance to play, there's free versions of the game that are around that are a lot of fun, and it's pretty much fill up the database with your favorite wrestlers. There's already databases pre-made, and then just pretty much, design their future and see, how it turns out and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Somebody not too long ago recommended to you the 1990s Vampirella movie. Have you seen it yet?
Oh my God. No.
Okay.
I do remember it being recommended to me, but I totally haven't seen that, the Vampirella movie. I imagine it's just as good as the Barbed Wire movie with Pam Anderson, based on the character Barbed Wire from the Malibu comics with Motorhead and others. So
we both feel that AEW was giving too much on their regular televised shows, and it's pretty obvious that they're pulling back now. And I think that has hurt AEW in the long run because the ratings, I think their Rampage rating this week was only 556, a little increase, but still not a great number in a lot of people's eyes. And that's because people were too spoiled with these top of the notch matches every week. And now you got to pull back a little bit, and fans are like, unless it's like really pay-per-view quality, I don't know if I really want to tune in. And that's, or they tune in, but it's not must-see TV. Stop what I'm doing. Watch it the first airing. No, I'll watch it tomorrow. I'll watch it over the weekend. I do that with NXT now. I don't watch NXT on Tuesday nights. I relax on Tuesday nights, and then I'll watch it the next day while I'm at work. So, it's convincing fans to watch it the first run, the first airing, and that's the most important for advertisers. So, shout out to Game Tourney Forever, Dayhawk 666, Elijah Galvin, Blazing Bolts, Karim Yamount, Prince Albert's, George Ford, and Jay Carlos. What's up? You may hear a name repeated once or twice because you might have had a few people posting numerous questions. We're actually almost done, by the way. I mean, we still have like 20 more, but a lot of these questions are very fast. So, Ray Guns, would we ever consider a co-host as like a prize to have somebody co-host with us? Believe it or not, we did that on Patreon, and overall it wasn't bad. We actually had a tier on Patreon that somebody would contribute, a certain amount and would be able to co-host the show. And believe me, I tell you, I had a ball. Everybody who co-hosted with us. The only problem with that is, to be honest with you, is luckily for all of our Patreons that did tune in and were hosts for a day, they all did a great job. They knocked it out of the park. I have watched other people's shows where they do a contest where somebody co-hosts and it's a disaster, a train wreck. I think doing call-ins to a show is a lot better because that person gets only a couple of minutes to talk. And, you basically, it's to a point where even if the call is not very good or if it just, whatever it is, it's not an entire show because you're committing yourself to an hour to 2 hours to one person. And I will never, ever insult anyone. I will never hurt anybody's feelings, and I'll never, put anybody down. But, I have checked out other people's shows who have done that, and the person, wins a contest or contributes a certain amount of, fun money to the show. And then they call in, and 5 minutes in, you're like, oh my God, I can't tune into this. So it's something that I always enjoy doing, but it's a lot riskier than you think because you want to please everybody that tunes in. Yeah. And I think also by doing just calls, it's less pressure because somebody may have a question, 2 questions. They make their point, ask their question. And look, it could build. My former co-host, he was a caller to my shows for years and years and years. And that just developed into something a little bit more. So it's something that I wish we could do more, but there's so many dynamics to it that would not, could risk it not working out all that well. And the last thing you want to do, especially this day and age, you don't want to have someone come on the show and then you have a whole bunch of trolls or people out there like making fun of the person, putting the person down, not liking the show. I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest with you. So one book, movie, or TV show that we recently watched that is a must read or a must watch. I've said it before, believe it or not, I've been watching a couple of YouTube channels. It's called Weird History. That's the one I'll give you for today. Weird History. Instead of the History Channel, it's called the Weird History Channel. They get into some entertaining topics from years past. Weird History.
I would say Dune. Get a chance to watch the new one that's on HBO, or it's actually at theaters too. It's a remake of the original. It's actually a remake from the books by Frank Herbert. The Dune series, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, etc. It's like an entire series, but Dune is fantastic, and visually it is breathtaking. Some of the visuals in the new movie are just amazing on screen. So yeah.
Okay. All right, Mish. This is I had to condense this question down because it was just way too long, way too complicated. WrestleMania. We got 4 WrestleMania main events. Of these 4 main events, which one would you have been fine with if it was a 3-way instead of a 2-way? You have WrestleMania 10, which was Bret Hart beating Yokozuna to win the WWF Championship. You have WrestleMania 13 with The Undertaker beating Psycho Sid to win the WWF Championship. You have WrestleMania 15, which was Steve Austin beating The Rock to win the WWF Championship. And then you got WrestleMania 29, John Cena beating The Rock to win the WWE Championship. Which one of those matches would you have been
it's
fine
kind of
with?
difficult because I would go with Yokozuna and Bret Hart, but John Cena and The Rock, The Miz really should have been a part of that.
Okay.
But I don't know. But yeah, with Bret Hart and Yokozuna and who was it that came out? Lex Luger.
Yeah, they all
Man,
put him on the shoulders
I think,
after.
yeah, but it was like a match after the match. I think that should be a three-way. I really do. Yeah,
I would have
when
been
they were on the aircraft carrier or whatever.
Yeah. I would have been fine if The Undertaker and Sid had a third person. I would have been fine. Whether it was Diesel or somebody else, I would have been fine with it. So,
right.
And believe it or not, one of the matches on that card was Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. So, which active wrestler do we think is one of the nicest or has like one of the good hearts that doesn't get enough credit? Active wrestler.
Mark Henry. Oh, active wrestler? Oh.
Yeah. Well, Mark Henry, well, I guess he's retired.
Mark Henry's not active. But I don't think people really understand how much charity work that this dude does. And I think it's partly because he doesn't really promote it. Mark Henry's not a guy who needs accolades and needs to get patted on the back for shit. But yeah, Mark Henry goes up there. But yeah, as far as active people, fuck.
I know who I'm going with.
Who's that?
Natty. I know a lot of people, think, it's a little annoying with Natty's career, but she does so much good outside that a lot of people are not aware of. I mean, she tries to inspire a lot of kids and, I would say Titus O'Neil, but everybody knows what he's doing. But Natty, I think, does not get enough credit. I'm not saying that others out there don't deserve it, but Natty comes to mind for me. So.
Man, I don't know. I can't even think. I mean, you can go with the generics of like John Cena, but he gets a lot of accolades and credit for what he does. And I don't know off the top of my head, honestly. So.
Okay. No, that's fine. Shout out to Charlie Conway, Havili, Brian, Phil Kohapi, Michael Gonzalez, Tyree Jones, James Campbell, and Doug Eaton. Chew of the week is kind of like Matarazzi of the week. That's what Everrise does where they chew out somebody. Like I said, I have a lot of faults. So if I'm going to chew other people out for stuff, I deserve it too. So it's something that, like I said, it's a fun thing to do. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying not to have controversy. I'm trying to just enjoy and laugh as much as I can. Favorite actor, Mish?
Shit.
Well, he's got favorite Met.
Yeah.
So I know Mets don't matter to you. For me, favorite Met. Favorite Met. Keith Hernandez. Always enjoyed his work.
Yeah, I don't know who my favorite actor is.
Okay. Favorite actor, I'll go with Robert De Niro, even though I don't like his political views.
Right. Yeah.
He's got favorite Yankee in here. I know you don't follow the Yankees, but for me, it'll always be Reggie Jackson. Always Reggie Jackson.
All right, cool.
Do we consider pizza a pie?
No. No, I don't. I look at pies as being strictly a dessert kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know that there's classifications and shit like that, but
yeah, I think they say more because it's round and it's got toppings. So
slices.
Yeah. Which rivalry did you like the most? Austin Rock, Hogan Savage, or Brett Shawn?
Hogan Savage. Hogan Savage a lot more, especially when I was a kiddo.
Yeah. I agree. Favorite Rock moment of all time? When he did the Rock concert in the ring, that WWE started censoring it. I mean, he just not the one where he went off on Vicky also, but the Rock concert that WWE heavily edited afterwards. I don't know if it was on John Cena though.
Yeah, I would say that was a fun one, but him turning on Nation of Domination and giving Farouk the poster of himself. I loved that.
That was good.
That shit was funny as hell. Yeah.
That
Because I mean,
good.
he was already cocky, but that was really like the birth of The Rock. Like there was a lot to that. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
You know, also when he gave British Bulldog the people's elbow and he had the dress shoes on and he slid in the ring, that was an awesome moment too, man. Just smooth as silk. I mean, I always wondered, like, what would have happened if he would have just tripped? Like, whenever he's done he's never tripped.
Yeah.
I
don't know, any of his interviews, like with Kevin Kelly, where he would drop the fucking coat on his head and he'd make Kevin Kelly hold the fucking the microphone up. Like Rock has tons of them. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'll answer these, Mish. I don't know what joke you're talking about, Charlie, with Joe Biden in November 1st. I looked it up, and the only thing that happened on November 1st was he did a rally before he became president in Philly, and very few people showed up. Trump's moment about injecting stuff in you, like alcoholic stuff, whatever he said, that was moronic on his part. I do think Cena makes an appearance soon. I don't know what you're talking about as far as 9/11 wrestling reports. Do I own an insurance office? Yes. Bayside or Valley? I don't know what you mean by that. Why was I mad at Timothy McVeigh? Because he blew up a building in Oklahoma City. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it.
Lots of people. Wow.
Yeah. Are you a fan of American Horror Story?
I like some of them. Some of them were okay. I hated the first season, the way that it ended. Believe it or not, I think that the what was it? Not Asylum, Hotel was probably the best one. Lady Gaga was in there. There was a little bit of corniness in the fucking thing, but overall, it was a very fun season. But that's what they do, is like every season it's something different. It's like they tell a different tale. You know, they tend to use a lot of the same actors and actresses, but overall the story is completely different. The one that they had down in the bayou, down in Nolans with Kathy Bates and stuff like that was a lot of fun too. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a fan. I haven't kept up with the newer stuff though.
Okay. We're going to wrap this up in about 10 to 15 minutes, everybody. We're getting into as many questions as we can. Some of these are just way too long. I will condense one of them right now. Do you like the idea of Shane McMahon with a show up in AEW and shoot on his father?
God, no, I would hate that. I would hate that passionately. I want Shane McMahon to be the guy to help take over WWE when his father is going to, retire. It would be such a weird thing for him to do that now. And I'm not trying to predict the end times for Vince McMahon, but it doesn't take a fucking genius to look at a guy that's Vince's age and realize that he's in the twilight of his career and the twilight of his own life. Why would you try to stab your father? Unless it's like a work or some kind of a money thing.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this.
Why would you try to do that for real against your dad in the last month?
Let me ask you this. Let's say Vince...
Stupid, man.
Let's say Vince is deceased.
And then he goes to AEW?
Then he goes to AEW.
That could be interesting. That could be fine. But yeah, just shit talking your dad while he's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm sorry. AEW fans want that? Cool. I wouldn't want to see that. Matter of fact, shit like that would probably get me to never watch AEW again.
I agree. Do we think Undertaker will ever wrestle another match?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood produce one? Sure.
Yeah, exactly. You go through the produced matches, absolutely. Live Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley? No, we're not going to see that shit again. Yeah.
All right. Yes or no at this idea? Brock Lesnar beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Then Brock Lesnar loses it to The Rock at SummerSlam. The Rock then loses it back to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 2023. So this way, The Rock does not beat Roman for the belt in any scenario, but instead the opposite. Thumbs up, thumbs down at that idea.
I mean, yes, you are accurate in how you've done this. Execution and context matter.
Yes.
So thumbs in the middle.
Yeah. I like the idea. That could happen. But I think The Rock challenging Roman Reigns is much more appealing than Roman Reigns challenging The Rock, in my opinion. Shout out to Tyree Jones, Slipper House Extra Extra, VJ, Shane IE, Jeffrey Collins. Crazy Cruiserweight as well. I think you know who this is coming from, Mish. When are you going to grow a backbone? This is just a statement. When are you going to grow a backbone? Stop being so delusional and defending Charlotte Flair. He finds it disrespectful and a bit racist how I was constantly mispronouncing Tomohiro Ishii's last name. I mean, it's
How
not
dare
Ishii.
you have no
Well,
for it,
you
Tom?
listen.
How
Let me.
dare you?
Well, he says it's not Ishii, it's Ishii. Cruiserweight. I am 100% in agreement with you. I've always said Tomohiro Ishii. If you go back to Dynamite, Excalibur kept saying Ishii. And it reminded me of Eric Bischoff's Easy E. That's why I kept doing it. Because I was like, oh, excuse me. Not Tomohiro Ishii. It's Ishii. Go back and watch it. That's why I said it.
Mispronouncing something is not racist, no matter what it is. Ever. Sorry.
Yeah. Any ex-women's wrestlers constantly bitter at WWE who are in their late 30s or 40s should shut up. Examples, Mickie James, Taya Valkyrie, Gail Kim. Why do these rusty old farts have to be such bitches? Hey, I mean, look, they worked for WWE. They are upset. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure we've all worked for someone that we were very, very upset at, may have lost our job and we're very bitter with. I mean, hey, they got a platform that we didn't have. So, I could see some valid points with it. Like I said, the only issue I had with Taya Valkyrie's comment the other day is, when she talked about her and her husband losing their income right before the holidays, I with all due respect, and I defend her 100%, but I also say, wait a minute, you have 3 months of pay coming. Maybe not necessarily for her because she was NXT, but John Morrison has 3 months of pay coming. That means he's paid until February, past the holidays. But still, nobody wants to lose their job around the holidays, so I'm sympathetic with that. So we have like 5 or 6 people left, but these questions are fast. Kevin Milwaukee, why does the crying sound so much like laughter? You must have tuned into one of my recent shows where I was kind of like doing both. So I don't know what you mean by that. And I thought about it. I said, that's the only thing I could be thinking of. When watching a movie, Mish, popcorn or candy?
Popcorn.
Me too. Favorite. It's so bad, it's a good movie. Besides the movie The Room. For me, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. It's such a bad movie, but I freaking love it. I know every single quote from that movie. I have a t-shirt. Maybe I'll wear it. Well, most of you will see us. Well, you all see us on Thanksgiving. But if you check out Monday's night show, Breakfast Super Raw, I'll wear my Andrew Dice Clay, So Many Assholes, So Few Bullets shirt. Mish, your favorite condiment? Well, you could answer the movie. Yeah.
Mustard.
Movie. Okay.
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
You know what? You ever watch movie 43?
No.
And it's a good skit movie. If you haven't watched it, I'll just say that. Watch movie 43. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Balls on the chin. Yeah.
All right. What era in wrestling do you think does not get enough love?
90s, mid 90s, with the campy characters and the wacky and the zaniness and stuff like that. I mean, when you have like guys like Doink and Repo Man running around and just a lot of the goofiness, RoboCop. And I think when you look back on it, it was just the right amount of campiness that made wrestling fun to watch. Because, yeah, they were appealing to kids, but it was a completely adult industry that didn't normally appeal to kids. So it was kind of funny watching WWF and WCW even going after this market, to which it was like, you're talking about guys who are literally in the territories not more than a few years ago, spitting on people and just bad mouthing people in the ring and just doing the most heinous shit. And now they're out there wearing like football gear and a padded helmet, pretending like, you know, they're the nicest guy in the world. I don't know, dude. The ironic subtext to that, the mid 90s, the early 90s stuff was a lot of fun.
Okay. Ice cream bar in a stick or ice cream bar in like a sugar cone or a waffle cone?
Sugar cone, waffle cone.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This person said it's no problem if we don't want to answer this. And I'm being totally honest when I give you my answer. Our go-to adult actress for the Jitjo rag. I honestly have none. None. I mean, I have none. I don't watch, adult movies. When I was younger, totally different story.
Yeah. I think, does it mean like of all time? Like currently, I don't have.
Well, he's saying currently. I mean, if we're going to go all time, when I was a teenager, it was Tracy Lords.
Yeah,
wasn't
you
even
can
close.
Go back. Eve Lawrence back in the day, Belladonna back in the day. These women don't exist
Belladonna,
anymore.
absolutely. Sure, I remember her.
Although no, I take it back. Eve Lawrence still has OnlyFans, but
Okay.
whatever.
Favorite Latino food?
I will go with the ever so simple chimichanga.
Okay. Fajitas for me. Favorite Latino actress?
Oh, like from like Puerto Rico, Mexico. Like
I'll do one from yesteryear. I always liked Rosie Perez.
No, I'm blanking on her name. Not the one from Modern Family. The one that was actually in the new Marvel movie. Fuck, what is her name? And I'm blanking, and makes me sound horrible. Yeah.
What's the name of the movie that just came out? The Marvel Eternals?
Yeah, the Eternals.
All right. Well, I have Eternals. Angelina Jolie. Gemma. No, that's Asian.
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek. Oh yeah, she just popped up. Salma Hayek. Okay. All right.
Salma Hayek she's really fucking smart, and I was amazed to how intelligent this woman was. But I've seen her do a couple of interviews. She recently did the Hot Ones. I don't know if you ever watched that, where they sit around eating barbecue sauce or hot sauce on the chicken wings and stuff like that. And she really is just an elegant person as a whole. I really just have a lot of love for her as far as Latina actresses go. And it's amazing because it's like, I don't know. I don't think she gets as much love as she should. So,
okay.
More movies.
If you could go at any of these events, you didn't have to pay for it. Would it be the Super Bowl weekend, all the games at the World Series, or WrestleMania weekend?
Super Bowl weekend, probably. It's not a shot to WrestleMania. Well, if you're saying all the shows during WrestleMania weekend, I'd probably say WrestleMania weekend. I take that back.
Yeah, I would go WrestleMania weekend.
There's a lot that goes on during WrestleMania weekend, as we know firsthand. So, and not even just WWE, Yeah.
What's your dream car? You could own any car right now, affordable.
Ice cream truck.
I like a new Mustang or a new Corvette. I always wanted a Corvette. Never had one.
Nice.
Favorite food to eat that has no chance of being eaten in moderation, meaning that you would just eat mounds of it. Mounds. I already know what one. Right now, because I've been on keto, if you put in front of me like really crispy seasoned French fries, I will eat pounds of it.
Yeah, I've never been crazy into French fries. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the curly stuff. But man, probably sliders.
Okay. All right.
Just eat sliders.
White Castle, sure.
No.
Favorite Canadian city you would like to go to that you never went to?
Favorite Canadian city?
Or a Canadian city you would love to travel to?
Probably Montreal.
Okay.
No, I take that back. Quebec.
Okay. I'll go with Calgary. Have you ever dated a porn star?
Yes. I think I've answered this one before. Yes, I have. She did amateur videos for the most part.
Nice.
But yeah, yes, I have.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I haven't. I dated a stripper for a short period of time. That did not go well. I could have had the opportunity to be in a menage a trois, and I was like, no, I'm not into that. And the relationship ended pretty much at that point, which is fine. I'm a traditional guy. You know, I'm a boring guy. I admit it. Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels?
Shawn.
Okay, I go with Bret.
Shawn Michaels. No.
Favorite Christmas movie not named Die Hard? The rest of these are quick, by the way. We'll be done in about 5 minutes.
Oh my God. What the fuck was that called?
When I was a kid, I always liked March of the Wooden Soldiers. Always watched that when I was a kid.
Oh, man. I'll go with Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way was a lot of fun, too.
Okay.
With Arnold, yeah.
I like Home Alone only because of Joe Pesci and that other guy. I mean, just the way they sold all that was pretty awesome. Do you remember the first cell phone brand that you ever had?
Yeah, I had a Sprint 1000. I think it was a Samsung.
Nice.
It was a brick phone. Wow.
Very nice. I still remember mine, Motorola flip phone. It was very, very thin, gray with that cheap plastic. I still probably have it in a box stored away. Motorola flip phone. I found my beeper the other day. About a month ago, I actually put it on the show. I don't think I have it out on my desk right now, but I took the beeper out the other day. I put a battery in it. The freaking thing still worked. It's not connected, but it works. Nice. Do you like any Indian food?
Yeah, there's different kinds. Like I love anything to do with hummus, a little bit of curry
Hummus
and
is
stuff
good.
like that. I like the Asian crossover for Indian food. Oh my God, not tapas. Tapas is not that. I'm trying to think of something else that's similar to that word, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, which is like pita bread with meat, and then there's like a curry sauce. It's very good. We actually get kebabs every other week, and they have like different types of goat and beef and chicken, and then they have like the seasoned rice, which is really good, and the couscous. So yeah, regularly get Middle Eastern / Indian food too. I know that they're a little different, but there's a lot of similarities too. So
okay, for me, I've had butter chicken before that I absolutely loved. I know that's an Indian dish. That's the one probably more than anything. I don't drink whiskey. Are you a fan of whiskey?
A fan?
Yeah.
I like Fireball.
Okay.
I guess if Fireball counts, Fireball's delicious.
Okay. Favorite beer?
Guinness, if you want to comment that. Yeah.
I don't drink beer at all, but I've had Coronas in the past. I drank Bud Nips when I was a kid, but if I was forced to have a beer right now, it'd probably be a Corona. Who do you feel is the best wrestling faction of all time besides NWO or DX?
Shit, of all time?
Or your favorite? Maybe your favorite. think that's a little fair.
Well, I mean, Legado del Fantasma is my favorite right now of
Okay.
all time. I don't know. I'd really have to think about that.
I go with Four Horsemen.
Yeah, Four Horsemen's a gimme.
Yeah.
Right. Demolition, maybe, with all three of them.
Okay.
Love that back in the day. Yeah.
Who's more annoying, Cody or Brandy?
Brandy. Far more annoying.
Okay.
Cody is at least a product of his environment. Brandy has no reason to be as cocky as she is.
Okay. Did you like the movie Forrest Gump when it came out?
Yeah, it was all right. It was funny.
I
enjoyed it.
Best homegrown AEW star. Pick one male and one female, and you can't choose Britt Baker.
Then is there anybody left?
Well, you got Nyla Rose. You got Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill? Yeah, I guess.
I mean, she's obviously still developing, but I think Jade Cargill has the opportunity to become a gigantic star.
But that's only like, what, 2 or 3 people? Everybody else came from a different company.
Yeah, that's true.
Serena Deeb isn't an AEW girl. And
as far as
that's
male, I probably would go with Guevara. I mean, look, all these wrestlers have come from somewhere, but I go with Guevara since he's been there pretty much since day one.
Page is the guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Guevara came from CZW. So,
favorite stand-up comedian of all time?
George Carlin.
All right. For me, I'm wearing, like I said earlier, I'm wearing his show on the November 22nd edition of Breakfast Soup Raw. Oh, you know, hickory dickory dock. I can't say anymore. I'll get punched in the cock.
Right.
Favorite game show host of all time?
Oh, Bob Barker. Come on.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Although there would be sayings for Alex Trebek too. It depends. But yeah, Bob Barker's the guy.
Okay. We're wrapping this up. Favorite vacation destination? Could be anywhere.
I mean, I enjoy Wisconsin Dells. If you like water parks and shit like that, if you like swimming and stuff, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a total tourist trap, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Who will lead AEW in 2 years? You know, it's a very loaded question. I mean, I don't know. It's not easy to put any individual person. I think AEW's roster is going to be very similar to what it is now. Especially that a lot of guys are signed for 3-year deals. So I'm going to say it's pretty much going to be similar to what you got. 2 years flies by fast.
I think Darby Allin will have some kind of rock in his hands at that point.
Okay.
Darby Allin's done everything right. You know, I'd say arguably he's a guy who needs a little limelight next.
Okay. Trade one recently released WWE star for someone who has not been released. For me, it's easy. Karrion Kross for Reggie.
Oh, like that.
Yes.
Aleister Black for Zelina Vega.
Okay. All right. Okay.
She is I mean, we'll talk about her eventually, or maybe not, but she is a special kind of scumbag. She really is.
Really? Okay. We might have to elaborate that
there's
on
some stuff that came out that she started mentioning things in an interview about the apologies to Vince McMahon, but I think I mean, when I break it down, it really makes her look bad because for months, people have been talking about how horrible Vince was to her for not letting her wrestle on SmackDown, to the point that they said that there was racism there. Vince is anti-American. And then now, months later, months after people have been doing nothing but shitting all over WWE because of what happened to Zelina Vega, she says, oh, he apologized months ago. Like, that was taken care of, like, immediately. And it's like, oh, now you mention this months later? Like, you're a special kind of sleaze bag.
favorite Halloween movie of all time.
Halloween 2?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Still my favorite.
Yeah.
Do you like the Harry Potter movies?
No, I don't.
Thank you.
I'm a muggle, you know,
All right.
so.
When I say the word basketball, who's the first player that comes to mind to you?
Michael Jordan.
Thank you. That's 3 in a row. No bullshit. Awesome. Jungle Boy, MJF, or Sammy Guevara?
MJF.
Who has the best untarnished wrestling legacy? Bret Hart? And there's no other options. So,
Well, that's not very much of a question,
Yeah.
is it?
you know what? For me, Bruno Sammartino. Nothing tarnished whatsoever. Because Bret, at some points, Bret forgot that this is the wrestling business. Bret screwed
Right.
Bret.
Brett
So-
was screwing also other people's wives. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? If you're going by that length, I would easily go in right underneath Bruno and say Bob Backlund.
Okay.
Bob Backlund had a pretty stellar career.
Shout out to Chris L., Zombries, The Breakdown, Tuxedo Earth, Rams fan, Malcolm X. You could change one thing right now with WWE or AEW. What would it be?
You cut out, sir.
Oh,
Sorry.
we could change one thing in WWE and AEW right now, what it would be. For me, I would add deeper storylines for AEW, and for WWE, I would end the brand split.
Wow, that's weird that you say that. For WWE, I would say continuity. They are horrible with continuity. They need to start figuring out point A to point B. And for AEW, I would say more meaningful matches. As opposed to being deeper storylines, the matches should have more presence on the show. If you're
Okay.
going to be a technical show based upon the talent and the prowess of the guys involved in the matches, then please bring some psychology into these matches to where they make sense and they mean more.
Okay. Favorite Japanese food?
Sushi, sashimi.
Yeah, I don't eat Japanese. I don't eat sushi. So, most overrated Thanksgiving food, one that doesn't get enough love. I think the sweet potatoes doesn't get enough love. Oh my God. Especially when you're Italian, you don't think sweet potatoes.
Yeah, no.
Turkey is always good. Malcolm X. Yeah, I would love to do something with Chris Van Vliet through Blue Wire if given the opportunity.
Sure.
Favorite Mexican
It was actually
wrestler?
kind of funny that you bring up Blue Wire.
Yeah.
Because I saw Sam Roberts on the new Tiger King documentary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think we only have like a couple of questions. These will be done in like 2 minutes. Favorite Mexican wrestler? For me, is Rey Mysterio. Well, I guess he's from Mexico. I'd go with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio. That makes sense.
Greatest wrestling era of all time. Attitude era for me.
Yeah. Attitude era. Absolutely.
Pancakes, waffles, or French toast?
Waffles. I do like some waffles. Some Guinness waffles. Yeah.
I've been making nothing but waffles. I've been making keto waffles, and they've been awesome. Let's see. Do you like the WWE Championship scramble matches?
No.
I don't like them at all.
No.
Yes, I agree. Baseball needs a salary cap. For you, Pico's, P-E-Q-O-D-S, Pico's, Geno's, East, Giordano's, or Home Run Inn?
Geno's East, but Picos is what you're trying to pronounce. Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Pequod.
Pequods. Okay.
Picos.
All right. 3 more questions. Which wrestler would best portray these fictional characters? This is loaded, man. Rapunzel, for example, played by Bianca Belair. Like, who would play Rip Van Winkle, the old woman who lived in the shoe, Old MacDonald, Humpty Dumpty? I would choose Arn Anderson for Humpty Dumpty. I love Arn Anderson, but he looks like a weeble wobble right now.
Ember Moon for the Big Bad Wolf.
All right, okay. Old woman who lived in a shoe. Huh.
Vicky.
That's not bad. That's actually not bad when you think about it. All right. Guilty pleasure you've never revealed to the public until now.
Why am I going to reveal it?
Guilty pleasure.
Shit, I don't even know. I mean, that's such an open-ended question.
Yeah. I've been pretty open with everything that I say. Guilty pleasure? Can't think of it.
I'm not open with everything, but I don't find any shame in it. So I don't know what a guilty pleasure would be.
Yeah, for me, maybe watching like a lot of like, I don't know, like YouTube videos about like, okay, I watch a lot of YouTube videos about like abandoned homes where people find homes that have been like in the mountains that have been abandoned for like 30, 40 years. They walk into the house and it's like almost untouched. I mean, you'd be surprised how many, there's crazy videos on YouTube. You see that. It's weird, wild. So last question, Mish. Of all the different shows that you do, which one is your favorite? And I won't get insulted if you said Wrestling Soup.
Wrestling Soup, but it's my creation from the ground up. You know, it's more of a success or fail story based upon the things that I've done for it. Yeah, that's literally what it is. So
yeah, for me, honestly, my favorite show to do, boy, I tell you, lately it's hard, man, because every show is different. I mean, I'm not trying to cop out when I say that I look forward to every show. I'm excited. I always try to be energetic, whether it was Minority Report or DTKC or Breakfast with Blassie or Breakfast Soup Raw, Q&A with Don Tony. I tell you, the sit down, I'm very excited to see where that goes, but I honestly don't have a favorite, and I'm not copping out. I mean, I try to look forward to every show the same. So I have no favorite. I mean, I will say I do enjoy at times doing solo shows only because, you know, sometimes I over talk too much. And if I do a solo show, I could get my points out and it's pretty much okay. Say a few things and people could react to it, but not every show. Like I would not want to do that on every show. You know, I love bouncing off of you and debating and disagreeing about things, but I have no favorite. So Mish, we are done.
Yeah.
A lot of questions, but hey, we've never done one publicly outside of Patreon. After all these years, we've never done one outside of Patreon.
That's true.
So this is the first, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And please, everyone, post your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. And, you know, we'll do one again down the line, you know, when new topics need to be brought up. So, Mish, I know everybody's going to tune into this on Thanksgiving, but for us, since we're recording it Monday, enjoy Raw. See you in a few hours.
See you in a few. Much
All
love,
right, my friend. Be well. Take care, everybody. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Much love as always, and all the best. And I am going to jet out of here. And please, if you know anybody out there that doesn't know about the channel, let them know. You know, spread the word. Hit that like button, obviously. Subscribe. Hit the notifications so you're notified whenever a new show is coming out. So I hope everybody has a very nice holiday weekend. Even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, have a great weekend, everyone. All the best. Stay safe. So much going on out there, not just unrest, but COVID. You know, just be careful. And hopefully you enjoyed our little rapid fire lightning round, whatever you want to call it. So thank you, everybody. Take care.